This here is from people who's generally in the past written pretty bad about Johnny, and they say Johnny Depp calls himself a sucker for falling in love with Amber Heard in rare comments about trial. Let's see what we got. Johnny Depp's looking back on his relationship with ex-wife Amber Heard and his subsequent defamation case against her over 3 years after a verdict was reached. So it's from an interview with the Sunday Times, and they say Johnny's talking about views that shaped his love life. They quote him, "So what were my initial dealings with what we call love?" Depp posted the publication, clearly obtuse. And what that means is, if you're a sucker like I am, sometimes you look in a person's eyes and see some sadness, some lonely thing, you feel you can help that person, he continued. But no good deed goes unpunished, because there were those who, when you try to love and help them, will start to give you an understanding of what that malice and perturbance was in their eyes. It manifests itself in other ways, Depp added. And the interesting thing is that is merely a sliver of my life I have chosen to explore. They give some details on the trial. As always, they don't fail to mention the UK because they're people. And they have some more details on the trial. And then they quote him once again. All right, so they threw that stuff in there about the trial to kind of set this up a little bit. I'm wondering, at this point, how many people don't know? Look, it had gone far enough. I knew I'd have to semi-eviscerate myself. Everyone was saying it'll go away, but I can't trust that. What will go away? The fiction pawned around the effing globe. No, it won't. And I agree with Johnny. If he didn't do something, I think that stuff would have been out there forever. If there was some kind of an inconclusive decision to the case or something like that, if it was like hypothetically thrown out or something, and the whole thing was left in the public decision, then yeah, probably it would never go away, and you'd have people even stronger saying their negative opinions. But at least now, if they do, people are always going to respond with Virginia, and that kind of muffles it down. And they quote him one more time. He says he didn't feel nervous. There was no lines memorized, so because of that, it made the trial easier. And they continue the quotes. The Gene Dabari star also reflected on the fallout that came from the trial, especially tied to those within his inner circle. As weird as I am, certain things can be trusted, and my loyalty is the last thing anybody could question, Depp told the Sunday Times. I was in court with one agent for 30 years, but she spoke in court about how difficult I was. And they end with this. Denying the betrayal, he felt down to 3 specific individuals that he said did me dirty, Depp explained. Those people were at my kids' parties, throwing them in the air. And look, I understand people who could not stand up for me because the most frightening thing to them was making the right choice. I was pre-Me Too. I was like a crash test dummy for Me Too. It was like before, that guy with the last name with the Stein. We all know who it is. All right, couple of new quotes in here. And I guess it wasn't the worst article by people. It didn't seem very lopsided. I didn't hear much of their opinion. So, okay, I guess they're a little better these days. Anyway, that's it for now. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.